what's up y'all, this is Charlie. Today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make my homemade vegetable pizza from scratch. Now this pizza is made with many different vegetables like kale, mushrooms, tomatoes, olives, and in addition to that we have onions, peppers, and then with the cheeses we use a fat-free mozzarella cheese. I actually combined it with a full fat mozzarella cheese so that way it's less fat per serving. The crust is also made with olive oil. The only difference is I added a little butter onto the edge of the crust. Now that can be interchangeable with olive oil as well. This recipe calls for about 12 or more individual servings depending on how you slice it. This is a big pizza. Now this is 16 inches in diameter, so it is a pretty big pizza. Not only is it healthy, it's a lot of vegetables in it, but it's absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all what you will need to make your homemade vegetable pizza. Let's get started with our ingredients. You will need 8 ounces, that's a half a pound of fresh kale, 8 ounces, that's a half a pound of baby bella mushrooms, 2 Roma tomatoes, 6 ounces of black olives, I love olives, 1 red bell pepper, 1 green bell pepper, 1 small red onion, garlic, bread flour, you can also use all-purpose flour as well, sugar, bread machine rapid rise instant yeast, extra virgin olive oil, salted butter, you can use unsalted butter as well, 1 can, that's 6 ounces of Hunt's tomato paste, no salt added, 8 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese, 7 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese, fat-free. Now this is interchangeable. You can use all of one or all of the other, but as for me, I'm going to be using both for this recipe. Grated Parmesan cheese, and for your seasonings, you will need some salt, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Now if you don't have this, you can use the Zatarain's Creole seasoning or the Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning. Chef Paul Prudhomme's Vegetable Magic, onion powder, garlic powder, some dried oregano, dried basil, and dried thyme. To bake your pizza, you will need a 16-inch in diameter pizza pan. And there we have it. Alright, let's get straight to it. We're going to start by rinsing off our kale with cold water. Now while we're at it, we're going to rinse off our 2 Roma tomatoes, followed by our red bell pepper, our green bell pepper, and for the mushrooms, we're going to add our baby bella mushrooms into a strainer. Now if you don't want to rinse the mushrooms off, here I have a pastry brush. You can just take that pastry brush and dust the dirt off of the mushroom and you'll be all set. But as for me, I'm going to rinse my mushrooms off with cold water. And once done, you can take the mushroom and pat it dry with napkins. Here we have our small red onion. We're just going to take our knife and we're going to slice this. Now you only need half of this red onion, okay? And once done, you could take those slices and cut them in half. And from there, you could just break them into strips. And there you have it. Alright, here we have our green bell pepper. We're just going to start by cutting that in half. Make sure you remove the core out of the center of your green bell pepper before you chop it. Now we're going to chop the green bell pepper into strips. And you only need half of this green bell pepper, okay? Here we have our red bell pepper. I already cut it in half. And make sure you remove the core out of the center before you chop it. Now we're going to chop our red bell pepper into strips. And you only need half of this, okay? We're going to cut our Roma tomatoes in half. Now we're going to take a spoon and we're going to remove the insides of the tomato out. And once done, we're going to set that on the side, alright? You also want to remove all those juices and seeds out of there as well. Just place that on the side. Now we're going to take our Roma tomato and we're just going to chop it into strips, as you see here. Now, as for those tomato juices and seeds, we're going to add that into a mesh strainer with a small bowl underneath it. And you're going to discard the seeds, okay? And once done, you should have about 2 to 3 tablespoons of tomato juice in there. Now as for the rest of the tomato insides, we're just going to chop that up. I'm going to add that onto our pizza as well. Here we have our mushroom. We're going to take our knife and we're going to chop this into thin slices, and you only need to slice about 5 ounces of those mushrooms. Here we have our fresh kale. We're going to take our knife and we're going to remove the leaves off the stem of the kale, and you only need about 2 to 3 whole leaves of kale, okay? Just going to carefully remove those leaves off. And as for the stems, you could discard that, alright? Now we're going to bunch all the leaves together and we're just going to chop that up. Now let's make our marinara sauce. In a small bowl, add 6 ounces of Hunt's tomato paste, no salt added. Now remember that tomato juice that I told you to reserve? Add 2 to 3 tablespoons of that in there. Give it a little bit more flavor. And to that, we're going to add a half a cup of water. Using a whisk, stir all ingredients together until it's creamy and smooth, like how you see here. Now let's add the rest of our seasonings. Add a half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, a half a teaspoon of Chef Paul Prud'homme's Vegetable Magic, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of dried oregano, a half a teaspoon of dried basil, a half a teaspoon of dried thyme, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar. Take your whisk and stir all ingredients together until combined. Now once done, you're going to take this and set this on the side while we make our pizza crust. So let's get started with that. In our stand mixer bowl, add 3 1/4 cups of bread flour. You can also use all-purpose flour as well. 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Give this a quick stir. In our stand mixer fitted with the dough hook attachment, add 1 1/3 cups of warm water. Temperature should be between 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And to that, we're going to add 1/4 cup of olive oil. Mix this on a low speed or according to your stand mixer's instructions on mixing doughs for about 2 minutes or until the mixture forms a dough like how you see here. Alright, it's been about 2 minutes now. Now if you touch the dough with your hands and it doesn't stick, your dough is ready. Now you're going to lightly flour the surface of your table. Add the dough on top of the table. Now we're going to knead the dough. We're going to knead this for about 10 to 15 times just to bring it all together. Now we're going to form the dough into a ball. And we're going to let the dough rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. Here we have our pizza pan. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of olive oil. And we're going to take our hand, we're going to spread that olive oil around the pizza pan. Alright, it's been about 10 to 15 minutes now. We're going to take our hands and we're just going to press that dough down just to release those gases caused by the yeast. We're going to add a small amount of our flour on top of our dough. We're going to add it onto our rolling pin as well. By the way, you're going to need that for this recipe. Okay. Now we're going to roll the dough out into a 14-inch in diameter circle. Do it the best way you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright. And the dough thickness should be the same all around. Okay. Now the dough should be a little bit smaller than your pizza pan. Exactly what we're looking for. Now we're going to take our dough and we're going to add that into our pizza pan. Now we're going to press and stretch the dough until the dough reaches the edge of the pizza pan, like how you see here. Alright. And the dough should be the same thickness all around. Now to make the pizza crust, it's real simple. You're going to take your fingers and you're going to make an indentation 1 inch from the edge of the pizza dough. Alright. And you're going to go all around the pizza dough with this. Alright. As you see here. Simple. Now we're finished with all of our ingredients and our toppings. And our pizza dough is ready to go. Now let's assemble our pizza. We're going to start by adding our marinara sauce on top of our pizza dough. Just add it right in the middle. Now we're going to take our spoon and we're going to spread that marinara sauce around our pizza dough as even as possible. Now you want to be careful not to go past the indentation markings for our crust, okay? Now we're going to sprinkle 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Just go all around with this. Now we're going to add our red onion strips. Add as much as you like. If you run out, you could chop up some more and add it on top. Okay? You only need a small amount anyways. Now we're going to add our green and red bell pepper strips. We're going to first start off with the green bell pepper strips. We're just going to add that on top. Add as much as you like. And if you run out, you can always add more. Okay? Now we're going to add our red bell pepper strips. Okay? Just add it all around. Here we have our fat-free and our full-fat mozzarella cheese into a small bowl. I just mixed it together. And we're just going to sprinkle about a 1/2 cup of that on top. Now we're going to add our tomato strips. Just add it all around the pizza. Now we're going to add our mushroom slices. I like a lot of mushrooms on my pizza, so I'm going to add plenty of those. Just go all around the pizza with the mushrooms, alright? Well, that looks good. Now I love black olives on my pizza, man. I'm going to add a lot of those. Actually, I might add the whole bowl on top, to be honest. I'm joking, but I know I'm going to add majority of it on there because I love black olives on my pizza. But you can add as much as you like, alright? And here we have our fresh kale that we chopped. And we're just going to take the kale and we're just going to add that on top. You can add as much as you like. You could cover the whole entire thing with kale. Now I just want to give y'all a heads up that once you finish from adding all your toppings, it is normal to have some toppings left over. You could probably take those toppings and make a secondary pizza if you like. Preheat your oven to 450 degrees. I've added the full fat and the fat-free mozzarella cheese into a medium-sized bowl and I just mix that together. Now we're going to sprinkle the cheese on top of the pizza. Just go all around the pizza with this. Now if you want to make a secondary pizza, you may want to buy some more cheese, as this is about 1 pound of cheese that we've added on here. And that's about the whole thing. Alright. Now it is ready to be baked. Place this into a preheated 450 degree oven on the middle rack. I am using a dark coated pan, by the way, and I'm going to bake this for about 15 to 20 minutes. Wow, look at how beautiful that turned out. Now we're going to remove our pizza out of the oven after baking on 450 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Now while our pizza is cooling, let's make our garlic butter mixture. In our food processor, add 3 tablespoons of melted salted butter. Now if you don't want to use a salted butter, that's fine. You can substitute the salted butter with the extra virgin olive oil. You just add 3 tablespoons of that in there. And to that we're going to add 2 cloves of garlic. Blend this for 1 minute. And this is how it looks when we're done. Here we have our garlic butter mixture with a pastry brush. Now we're going to brush the garlic butter mixture onto the pizza crust. just go all around with this and let this cool for about 5 minutes before serving. Here is the final presentation. And there you have it, homemade vegetable pizza, made from scratch by a New Orleans native. If you like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. You can also check out this recipe, along with all of my other recipes, at www.charliethecookandrews.com. You can also find me on Facebook and on Instagram under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. Stay tuned as Charlie's Taste Test is coming up next. Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. Oh man, I love pizza. I've been waiting all day for this, so let's go. I mean, look at that. Say, bro, I tell y'all no lie. When I tell y'all this is good, it's really good. It has a wonderful vegetable flavor, and those vegetables have cooked down some. You know, when we first put all the vegetables and toppings on the pizza, it seemed like a lot, but once the pizza bakes in the oven, those vegetables cook down. All the vegetables are nice and tender. None of them are hard at all. And the mozzarella cheese brings together all those flavors. The pizza crust cooked pretty evenly. It's not soggy at all. Actually, none of the vegetables really release any liquid, just little to no liquid. And the crust, soft, nice garlic flavor, absolutely delicious. Telling y'all, give this a try. If you love vegetables, you're gonna love this pizza. It's really good. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and until next time, have a good one. Peace. Put this over here. I love pizza. This is like a supreme pizza, but it has vegetables in it. It's on point. Supreme pizza is my favorite, by the way. It's really good. I'm about to eat this whole pizza by myself. Tell me.